Financial planning is not always about building and growing wealth. Sometimes it does the exact opposite. And this is the one where we potentially cost family hundreds of thousands, but it's a cool story. And we've just finished up with this client, one of the happiest ones that I've done. So, client, she's aged in her late 60s, super smart professional lady, and the reason for her seeking advice was that she had recently downsized her home that she lived in and was looking at some restructuring around that. And when she first sought out the advice, she told me the same old stuff that every smart person tells me. They want to reduce tax, they want to build up how much they have and all of that. And she just wanted to know the best ways to do it. We'd already found out. Unfortunately, she sought this advice a little bit late, so we missed out on the downsizer contributions. But anyway, so then it was time to start prodding about what she actually wanted. In her situation, she didn't have any children, and she had all of these things that she wanted to do throughout her life. And as an example, it was traveling all around the world. There was quite extravagant trips that she had always thought about doing. And part of her being in our office was her having the permission to be able to dream and think about all of the things. And if money weren't an issue, what would she do? Now, what had held her back from doing this had always been the security and everything else. And that was where I got really direct and straight with her. And I told her she had 10 years to enjoy this and do all of these things. And if she didn't do it, the only people that would win in her situation were the nieces and nephews, which from all accounts, they were all doing fairly well on their own. And I encouraged her not to sacrifice her own, probably the best part of her life, where she had everything going for her. She was about to reduce working hours, which was already one of the points that we covered, in that we were able to strategically reduce her working hours so she was able to get some age pension. Retirement, while she was in a position to retire, she didn't want to do this because she'd been with the company from the very beginning when the company started off. And for someone like her, she did get a lot of status just from what she did for the company and a lifetime of achievements that she'd built up. But we were able to reduce it to a point where she got a whole bunch of government benefits too. So that was great. So there was the time that we were freeing up a little bit, money with her superannuation, downsizer proceeds, and status we were able to continue with, and health. She's like with anyone else, she was in the best health that she's ever going to be in. And I find that after a certain point, you can have all the money in the world, but it doesn't actually make any difference from that point on. So what did we do? We mapped out her entire financial situation, looking at, and we allowed her to dream. So we put in holidays every single year, multiple holidays. We picked one of them and we modeled in, it was over $50,000 when she heard it. When we first told her about this, she just brought it up as a dream. She laughed it off. But then by the time we actually properly mapped out her whole life in accordance with her values, giving back to the community and helping in the way that she wanted and her ideal life, what we actually found is that even well past her life expectancy, she had money left over. It actually made me think of an analogy that, I'll give it to you on the spot here. It's when a pilot flies, when a plane flies, they typically run on the bare minimum fuel that they need. If they're going from, call it Melbourne to Brisbane, they'll typically have enough fuel to get from there to there, especially internationally. And what they don't do is fill up all of their max tanks with everything, no matter how short the journey. When it comes to retirement, that's what I find a lot of people actually do. And that's one of the benefits of seeking that financial advice, where in this situation, instead of trying to build up her super and have her die the richest person in the graveyard, we actually did the exact opposite, where we mapped out how she can best strategically plan her life to do all of the things that she's always wanted to do, whilst having the security and comfort of knowing that she won't ever run out of money and knowing she's got it right. So, of course, we had a whole bunch of other tax planning that we did. There was tax planning, Centrelink planning, investment strategies, structuring, all of that stuff happened. But in my mind, that was all secondary. And all in all, what did that leave? It left us with a client who left with a huge smile on her face, that at her age, late 60s, has now got all of this to look forward to, things that she didn't even think were possible. So one of the wins in my book. So just thought I'd share that one. Not your traditional financial planning story.